Hello everyone, welcome to course study on solid mechanics. In today's lecture, we are going to start a new unit, that is unit number 4, and the title of it is torsion. So first of all, we will move to the introductory part of unit number 4. So what is shaft? Because shaft is a machine element in which the torsion takes place. So before proceeding for actual part of torsion, it is necessary to define the shaft. So shaft is a rotating machine element, usually circular in cross section. It may be hollow or solid, which is used to transmit power from one part of the machine to the another part of the machine, or from a machine which produces a power to a machine which absorbs the power. This is the simple definition of the shaft. Shaft is a rotating machine element which is used to transmit power from one part of machine to the another part of the machine. For example, this is a motor which consists of number of unit, but we are going to concentrate on shaft only because our unit 4 is based on the shaft only. So this is a shaft which is used to transmit the power from one part to the another part. Remember that shaft, it is always circular in cross section, but it may be a hollow or solid in section. The material which are used to manufacture the shaft is mild steel, alloy steel, or copper alloy. So remember that shaft, it may be made up of mild steel material, alloy steel, or copper alloy. When shaft it is in working condition, it may subjected to following type of the load. The first load is torsional load. So we will discuss what is torsional load in the next slide. Due to the torsional load, the stresses developed will be the shear stresses, and each and every cross section of the shaft will be in shear stress due to the torsional load. Second type of load is bending load. Due to the bending load, the stresses developed are bending stresses. So those are the bending stresses. It may be a tensile in nature or compressive in nature. Bending stresses, it is also known as longitudinal stresses. Third type of load is axial load. The name itself indicates what is axial load. The line of action of the load is along the longitudinal axis of the shaft. Therefore, the name is axial load. And fourth one is the combination of above three. So those are the forces to which shaft is subjected. Remember that shafts are always designed on the basis of strength and rigidity criteria. Both the criteria we are going to discuss in coming videos. Now we will move to the torsion. What is torsion? A shaft will be said to be in torsion if it will be subjected with two equal and opposite torque applied at its two ends. When a shaft is subjected to two equal and opposite torque or the twisting moment at both the ends, then it is in torsion. For example, this figure. In this figure, the shaft is subjected to two equal and opposite torque at its two ends. Therefore, that particular shaft, it is in torsion. Or another definition of torsion is, it may produce when one end of the shaft is fixed and other end is subjected to a twisting moment. Now we will concentrate on this figure. In this figure, this particular end is fixed on, whereas other free end is subjected to a twisting moment T in clockwise direction. Due to this also a torsion take place, and the stresses developed will be the shear stresses in each and every cross section of the shaft. Next point, when a shaft will be subjected to torsion or twisting moment, there will be developed the shear stresses and shear strain in the shaft material. As discussed earlier, it is subjected to shear stresses and shear strain in each and every cross section. Due to the torque, there will be the rotation about its longitudinal axis. When we apply a torque or twisting moment onto the shaft, the rotation always takes place about its longitudinal axis. So the rotation, it is about the longitudinal axis. And the unit of torque or the torsion is Newton mm or kilonewton meter. because it is a twisting moment or it is a couple which is applied onto the shaft, and all of you know that twisting moment couple has the unit of Newton mm or kilonewton meter. Now we will move to the sign convention which has to be followed for the torsion. If we apply the torque at both the end in this manner, then we have to consider a positive torque. In this manner means one end is subjected to, this end is subjected to anti-clockwise torque, whereas this end is subjected to clockwise torque. If we apply a torque in this manner, then we have to consider it as a positive one. If we apply the torque in this manner, then we have to consider a negative torque. It means that this end is subjected to clockwise moment and this end is subjected to anti-clockwise moment, or we can say it as a torque. So this is a negative torque. Now we will move to the assumptions of torsion, because it is very important related to derivation of torsional formula. The first assumption is the material of the shaft is uniform throughout, homogeneous and isotropic. The material of the shaft is uniform throughout, homogeneous and isotropic means it has a same elastic property at each and every point of the shaft. This is the homogeneous material. Second one, shaft circular in section before loading remains circular after loading. The second assumption is, all of you know that shaft has a circular cross section. Okay, so before loading it must remain circular in cross section, and after loading also it must remain in circular section. This is the assumption. The third assumption is a plane section of the shaft normal to its axis before loading remain plane after the torque have been applied. That is, no warping and distortion will take place. So as discussed in the second assumption, it is same as that of the third one. So a circular shaft will remain as it is just before and after applying the load. That is, no warping and distortion will take place. Fourth assumption is twist along the length of the shaft is uniform throughout. So when we apply a twisting moment at both the end or one end, then the twisting of that particular shaft takes place, and that particular twist along the length of the shaft is uniform throughout. This is the assumption. Fifth assumption is distance between any two normal cross section remains same after torque applied. Sixth assumption, all dimensions of the shaft before twist remain unchanged after the twist. So the dimension, there will be no change in the dimension of the shaft before and after application of the twist. And the last assumption is maximum shear stress due to the torque does not exceed its elastic value. That is, it must obey the Hooke's law. Whatever the stresses will develop, that will be within the elastic limit. This is all about the assumptions of torsion. In the next lecture, we will discuss about the derivation of torsional formula. So we will stop here. Thank you.